Hey, all right, I think we're live. See what happens here. If you're watching this, the YouTube takes a second. Like the delay that you get between when you type something in and I respond to it, I see on this front too. So it's weird. All right. Yeah, so I haven't really been making a lot of videos lately. It's because I really felt like talking about a lot of the records and that sort of thing. And it's funny because I've been spending a lot of time thinking about it, but I've been getting rid of unloading the shit, and so my head's just been in a different space. You know what I mean? So sort of rediscovering some old friends, but also like looking at all the shit that I just never play. But I've also just uncovered like a lot of shit that I kind of forgotten about. I might get a couple of those in here too. Who knows? We'll see. Hey, Mick, welcome, man. Thanks for showing up. So, yeah, but anyway, for old time's sake, I was going to start out with a little bit of soda, actually, but I looked at the fridge. Hang on a second while I get this shit. Fucking stuff. Yeah, I found this at a fucking shop. Hello Kitty Fizzy Pop. And it's cherry lime flavored, which was already enough for me, right? But it's Hello Kitty. I mean, how could this not like be amazing, right? Or at least, actually, it could pretty easily not be amazing. But there's no way I could not try it. That's for sure. So here we go, man. If you watch, what's that kid's name? The Report of the Week. Hello Kitty Fizzy Pop going in. You know something? I think if these sodas can do one thing wrong, it's not be sweet enough. I just tried this guava soda, like one of those. I can't remember the name of the company. It's something with a B. They make like root beers and ginger beers and shit too. But they made a guava soda, and it's really good. It's just like not quite enough when you're sipping it. You know what I mean? This doesn't really commit that sin. This is like nice and sweet and sugary, and it's probably just as well that it's in a small can. Although you know what's funny? This can feels small, but it's 12 fluid ounces. I guess the psychology of it somehow. Oh well. What the hell? I'm listening to Paul Bearer right now. I've listened to a lot of that stoner shit too, man. Like Duel and fucking Slow Season have been a couple of favorites. And Here Lies Man, I've been listening to them like every day, but that's not what I have here to show. So we have some shit. Yeah, this is actually the closest I'm probably ever going to do to like through the alphabet. That's another thing that's funny. I don't remember how much of the shit I showed last time, so I was there showing a lot of duplicates. You know, like let me know or something like that, so I can mix it up a little bit. The fuck? Oh, it's the monitor is what that is, because the camera's in a weird place. Well, fuck it. Excuse me. It's so this is a. I think it's the first Skid Row album. It's called Skid. It seems a little bit dumb. I'll try holding it this way so the thing doesn't block it. Yeah, this band's kind of known for Gary Moore having been in the band, and some they're really good. I mean, I'm not the biggest Gary Moore booster or something like that. I'm not really inclined to go, oh my god, Gary Moore's on that. I've got to hear that shit. Although I'm less hostile to Gary Moore than say Clapton. I mean, I hear he's on something. I'm like, oh fuck, dude, keep it away from me, dude. Like, I mean, like Keith Richards too. You know what I mean? Although I don't find Keith Richards to be as contemptible. I don't know. Whatever. This is a pretty good record, as I recall. It's been a long time since I played it, but kind of tripped me out the first time I saw it. I mean, band photos, as good as these things ever are. I actually usually hate band photos. I've kind of come to realize because they're always stupid and like hokey looking and fake. Like concurrent viewers, I have 7 people watching, so oh shit, my bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. What's this fucking thing doing? All right, well, whatever. This is stream status is excellent. Hey, Eric, man, welcome. So yeah, this is a different Skid Row. This is a reissue. That other one's an original. In fact, this other one here is kind of, I think it's a white label promo. I don't really understand when people get excited about the gold stamp promos because those are just kind of, it's just a record that they just stamped, you know. But these things, yeah, no, this isn't a white label. So it is kind of a cool old epic label though. So just that timing strip. So you know, it was probably a promo copy, but it isn't like a promo, you know. Shit, I need to jump up again and flip that fucking record. All this time. So I noticed I'm up against Brother Brian. I don't know if I can compete with that. Here's the other Skid Row I was talking about. I'm kind of hoping he nods off early or something. All right, some of you are going to be jelly about this one, man. This is a fucking second Sir Lord Baltimore record. And this is an original, like, Mercury one. This is one of the... I actually might have bought this in the wild. But I think this was one of the earliest records that I bought online. It was either that or I bought it at Amoeba Hollywood when I was living in LA. But this is in really nice shape, too. Fucking... I realize it because I kind of haven't pulled it out in a while, but... I mean, I hope y'all know Sir Lord Baltimore. It's like classic, like... I mean, one of the, like... original, like, sort of hard bands. You know, if you want to talk about heavy metal from the 70s, Sir Lord Baltimore is who you're talking about, whether you know it or not. So let me flip that other record real quick. Yeah, fucking face paint. I got some fucking face paint. I got your face paint right here, buddy. So this one I definitely got in the wild. This is the first Sir Lord Baltimore, Kingdom Come. The second one was self-titled. The first one was called Kingdom Come. I think I remember you showing that Sir Lord Baltimore, Eric. You got the second one or the first one? God, when I found this, I fucking freaked out. This was back in the 90s, man, at a local shop. I thought I was never going to find something like this. I actually had it on CD. And actually, you don't know how I fucking discovered this? Hey, Shane, man, welcome. You know how I discovered fucking Sir Lord Baltimore? This is the kind of shit we did before we had the internet, okay, boys and girls? So, it probably won't surprise anyone to hear that I was like really into Lester Bangs for a while. I mean, I still like Lester Bangs too. I'm not like shitting on him. He's just like not sort of the hero. Like our tastes have diverged in certain ways, you know? But even so, oh, there you go. Eric, fucking Dylan hooked you up, man. It's a great record. Yeah, anyway, fucking, like, I had my copy of Psychotic Reactions and Carburetor Dung, right? And, like, literally, I went through, and if I didn't know a record that was in there, I would go check it out. You know what I mean? So Sir Lord Baltimore got, like, a really passing mention, you know? And I didn't know if it was a band or a guy or what. Apparently, it's both, really, but what I care about is the band. So, yeah. Oh, hey, Paul, right on, man. Dude, I'm listening to your fucking Paul Bearer record right now. Yeah, anyway, I got this at Recycle Records in San Francisco on 8th Street. I walked in and they fucking had this. It's a white label promo of this guy in beautiful shape, and I about fucking shit myself because it's one of the greatest fucking records ever. It's so funny. It really doesn't even look as old as it is. I mean, at least when I got the CD, I didn't think so. The record kind of does a little more. I like when you open it up, it's funny. Like I didn't have this with the CD, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that looks like the 70s, you know? But this is a fucking, I mean, this is one of the greatest records ever. But I should probably play it next. I haven't played this in a long time now. God damn. Yeah, that's cool, man. You know, when I got these, dude, you couldn't get reissues of these records. Like it was the only way. I mean, seriously, I got into Sir Lord Baltimore I got that CD in like '94, '95, somewhere in there. I remember where I was working. So, and I probably found the record like maybe 2 or 3 years later, something like that. But yeah, I mean, they just weren't printing any records then. You were lucky if you could get a CD or something like this. Although that was one of the good things about CDs. Like if you want to talk about what were sort of the positive effects, one of them is that it really led to a lot of shit being reissued that people had forgotten about for a long time. And if I mean I don't know that Sir Lord Baltimore is like your prime example of a band who like got a boost on account of that, but it was definitely a real phenomenon. So here there's this yeah, Silverhead repress. This is just like '70s glam shit that wasn't as good as I kind of wished it would be. I mean, they looked the part. And this sure looks pretty sleazy. But yeah, I don't remember it too well. Again, I haven't played any of these records in a long time, but here I think this is the first Silverhead, which is funny because this looked pretty clean, but I remember it being kind of crunchy. So, but yeah, same deal. I mean, it's not bad. Okay, here's one I've never gotten, dude. This is a record that gets so much hype, and I don't really understand it. That's the Silver Apples. Look at that. You can see my fucking monitor and shit in the reflection on the cover. I have my fucking Coke and my Hello Kitty soda, which is right here in case you missed the beginning. Dude, a fucking guy named Simeon playing an instrument called the Simeon, and it's him and a drummer. This should be the greatest thing ever. But it just sounds like ordinary, like hippie shit. This is like one of the most disappointing records, like ever. I think. Does anyone want to fight with me about this? About the Silver Apples being like not living up to the hype? And like I've come back to these guys and I've never gotten into it. Like bands like the 50 Foot Hose too, they were kind of none of those bands that had this reputation for being, super like cool or weird or something like that. And I thought that just sounded like hippie shit too. But I came back to that one later and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good, man. And I can dig that record now for what it is. But this, I think it's lame, man. I just do. I mean, it's not bad, okay? There's really nothing wrong with this record. I could put it on right now and enjoy it, okay? But when you hear about this being like this weird like thing with this duo with this homemade instrument and shit, it seems like it's going to be so cool, and it's just not. It's just kind of ordinary, which is probably given what this record is. To say it's ordinary is probably the biggest insult I can hurl at it. It's what Eric says here. Eric says, I take it as a good album, but don't weigh it up against the hype. So no, this is not an original. It's a Phoenix Records pressing, which I've learned from anonymous people who report shit on Discogs as a bootleg label. Actually, everyone's always known that that's kind of a shady label. But I'll still shit on the fucking control freaks on Discogs anyway. This is kind of a weirdo record. This one's actually already sold too, so I can. This is the last time you're gonna see it here until I go out and rebuy it in 10 years because I realized it was the greatest thing ever and I was a fool. But yeah, this is just some weird like music for commercials. I mean, I haven't played this in a long time either, but it's like it's from an unusual time. I don't even really remember how I discovered this. I think this was something I came across when I was working in the record store. And I thought it was kind of cool, and I thought about purging it like a few times. I always end up keeping it because it's good, but I don't know. Finally, I let go this time. This is one of the best. Contact, you think is better? The second Silver Apples. All right, well that's good to know. I'll give that a listen one of these days, one way or another. I don't know if I'm going to run out and buy it. I've been tempted by it before because it should be really cool. Trying not to lose my place here. All right, Semiramis. This is like one of the best Italian prog records, and look at how awesome that cover is, man. It's like a hillscape and him. I mean, Jesus Christ. What more could you possibly want? I'm not even going to say anything else about this record because that should be enough right there. Actually, I haven't played it in a long time, so I don't really remember, but I remember really liking it. And this is kind of a highly regarded Italian prog record too. Like some of the ones that are highly regarded, I think are overrated, and some of the ones that aren't so highly regarded, I think are great. This one, like both those two, me, you know. Alpha Taurus is the first one that comes to mind that like is considered like great, but isn't really one of my favorites. I know, get another stack of these. Yeah, well, I'm glad y'all joined because I don't know, like I was saying at the beginning, I haven't really been feeling like making videos. My head's been in this other space, you know what I mean? It's really, you know, it's fun thing. It's one thing to like know you have records that are like cool as shit. It's another thing to like post them online and have someone go, "Oh, holy shit!" You know, I'm gonna grab that one. And I'm willing to pay for it too, you know. Eric, I agree with Easter Everywhere being a better record than Psychedelic Sounds of the 13 Floor Elevators. Yeah, there we go. And Doom Paul's agreeing too. Might have a little bit of a quorum here. In fact, it's kind of funny because when I talk with people, I feel like a lot of people like Easter Everywhere. But when you like read shit, like these lists and shit like that, people always seem to rate the Psychedelic Sounds higher. So I don't know, I almost wonder if, you know, I want to say, I wonder if people who like spend a little bit more time with the band like pick the second record. But I also find the second record to be more accessible and just easier to listen to than the first one. So I don't know. I would go against that, which is just as well because it would have been a pretentious thing to say anyway. I would love to take a look at a first press of Contact. Eric's offering to show me his first press of Contact of Love once COVID's over. No, I would totally check out that record. I'm going to come up there anyway, though, man. Here we go. Melvin Ramon's on board with Easter Everywhere for the better album. See, there you go, man. Like the serious folks. Now, but if you go on Rachel's stream, I'll bet all of them will be like, oh, the psychedelic sounds is better. That's what happens on Rachel's fucking stream, man. Brother Brian's still alive? I'm going to steal his thunder. Um, you're not wrong about the, hey, Cosmic Vinyl Man. Thanks for joining. Eric says, thinks fringe vinyl nerds are in love with the cover. It looks cool in a beginner's collection. That could be, but that is a legitimately great album, too, you know. Whatever, I'm going to shit on enough people before the end of the night. I don't want to, like, spend too much time shitting on fans of the first Elevators record. So this record, which is nowhere near as good as the first 13th Floor Elevators record, is by this fucking band that seems like they should be from Finland or something. But yeah, Siampi, Summer's Coming on Heavy. And I actually got this is another rockadelic one. I actually got this directly from his brother, from John Haupt. I was like, just send me a few things to check out. And somehow I ended up keeping this. It has this weird like cover on it and shit that I don't even want to touch because it's so fragile. But it's just kind of hippie shit. This record, you know. And I was like, it's kind of lame. And I wanted to like it because it was a rockadelic, and I kept it. And it was one that I put every couple of years. But you know something? When a couple of years ago, and I got really into hippie shit, I was listening to like the Grateful Dead all the time and shit like that. I pulled this out and I was like, hey, this fucking record's fantastic. It sounds like hippie shit. So yeah, man, fucking right on. Fucking Mr. Cosmic Vinyl. I'll bet you'd be into this record. You'd probably appreciate it. So Christopher Kibler, thanks for joining. This is the same purge, man, and it's not like a big purge. It's like I'm I'm loosening my grip a little bit. Is more sort of like it, you know. Like some of the shit. Okay, so there's some things I got in here. These aren't necessarily all gonna go. I kind of recombine my shit. I posted some of it. You could talk me into letting other shit go, but I'm kind of trying to have fun with it, really, and it's working pretty well. So, okay, so Nate Bouchard says his Grateful Dead phase only lasted about 2 years in college. Now the fact is, it's I don't think it's been a full 2 years yet since I got into the Grateful Dead. No, that's not true because I'm pretty sure it was late 2018. So about yeah, 2.5 years since I got into the Grateful Dead. But those records, I fucking reach for those records, man. I actually really like those records a lot. Like, and I have like I don't know, probably like 7 or 8 of them or something like that too. They're all just really good. You know what I mean? I can really enjoy them, and like I've got to give them credit for that too. You know, I'm not a lifelong Deadhead. Fucking, I discovered the Grateful Dead at age 45 or 46. But they're just a good fucking band, man. Those records are good, and the songs are good, and they're easy to listen to. And there you go, fucking Mr. Doom Paul. He's fucking got Doom in his name, and he digs the Dead, and that's like the opposite. Like, if that's like Doom fucking music, then the Dead should be like Eternal Life and No Danger music or something, you know? Anyway, the Seeds, I think you probably all know, is a pretty rough copy of it. There's some records in here where I'm like, I can't believe how good this copy is. I don't really deserve this. This is probably about the copy of the Seeds, the Future, that I deserve because I haven't played it. You know, I don't remember where this came from either. My first copy of this, there used to be a record store in Cleveland. It was like inside of Cleveland. It was just like the front of this guy's house that was kind of built out, like literally, like the front was just built out a little extra. Like he has a closed-in porch and shit. They just had records out front with records on it, with letters on them that spelled records, and everything was either 50 cents or a buck. And he had a copy of this, which was actually only a dime. And I didn't know why the Seeds record was a dime and all these other ones, but I like was just kind of starting on the Lester Bangs, right? I was like, oh my god, it's the fucking Seeds! I found the fucking Seeds record, and so yeah, I kind of freaked out. And this is not that copy, so I don't. I know I probably let that copy go, but I don't know when this came in. But I don't know. I'm not the biggest Seeds fan, honestly. I like the Seeds, okay. I'm not going to shit on the Seeds, but I don't think they're as good as Question Mark and the Mysterians. That's awesome on the Clean Seeds records at Horizon, Eric. All right, so here's a little like prog pop quiz because this is like if you're like indie or prog, but you're not like deep into the shit. This is still like maybe a third tier one you should probably encounter, man. Oh, the Fugs, yeah. I already discovered the Fugs before I discovered Lester Bangs, believe it or not. That was part of why I like trusted Lester Bangs on in his reviews though, because like I'd go, well, he'd be like blah blah blah, this band, this band, this band I'd never heard of because I was like 17 or whatever. I was like, but he digs the Fugs, so I could probably trust him, you know. The Gods, he fucking totally turned me on to. I didn't already know the Gods, and that shit is awesome. You want to see my Gods records? Anyway, this is Secret Oyster. I think they're actually Danish. Yeah, recorded in Denmark. I don't know what the fuck Secret Oyster is supposed to be. But you got Question Mark and the Mysterians the same day. Mr. Winebender, did you know that I actually saw Question Mark and the Mysterians live at the Great American Music Hall in like 1997 or 8? The Fugs are awesome, Nate. You fucking got to spend your time with the Fugs. Anyway, we're talking about all these other fucking records that are like a lot better than a Secret Oyster, but this is a pretty cool prog record, man. It has a little bit of that sort of Europeanness to it that you wouldn't confuse it for an English band, but they're not like deep in the throes of it, like a Drosselbart or some of these like German bands or like the really fucking experimental Japanese shit. It's pretty like yeah, we're a prog band. We're still gonna rock some, not be too like up our own asses, and yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, Cosmic Vinyl, you need to check out the Fugs. In fact, everyone should know the Fugs, but you like should totally like check out the Fugs. You want to see my Fugs records? I'll tell you what. Here, I'm gonna pull up my Fugs records, and we're gonna show them to Cosmic Brian, and we're gonna decide if these are records that he should like be spending time with and getting to know or not. Give me just 1 second here. Yeah, hang on. Everything's just rearranged a bunch of shit. I don't know where anything is, right? Let me put another record too. Actually, you know something? What was that other one I was thinking of putting on? Oh, Solar Baltimore. That's what we're gonna listen to. All right, one more second here, guys. Then we're gonna talk about Cosmic Brian's records. All right, so everyone who's like waiting, you just got an extra few seconds because of the design here of the Unipack. Those things are such a pain in the ass. They look cool, but they're a pain in the ass. Can you even hear me when I'm over there? Probably a little bit. Can y'all hear me when I'm talking when I'm over there? All right, cool. Here we go. All right, so this is actually the last Fugs record I have. Now, the Fugs, they're the ESP Fugs records, and then they're the Warner ones, okay? Because for some reason, hey Lazarus, man, welcome. We're just getting ready to discuss whether Cosmic Brian should have these Fugs records in his collection or not. That's what the hell is going on here. So check this out. This is Virgin Fugs. This is sort of like the last. This is like the last sort of leftovers from the ESP sections. Okay, the Warner records are okay, but the ESP ones are where it's at, man. I mean, those are the fucking really crazy ones. And yeah, fucking because everything on ESP was crazy. So look at these photos, man, and look at just that fucking font is insane, dude. See, this is the sort of thing we used to look for before the internet, boys and girls. Hey, I forgot it was Easter. Shit. You can't really see it because the resolution isn't good enough. But still, this has songs on it like "We're the Fugs," "Saran Wrap," "The Ten Commandments" by God and Tuli Kupferberg. Oh, and CIA Man. That's probably the biggest song on this. With the rhyme "fucking A," CIA. That's like an all-time classic. So yeah, totally. Now this is like number 3 though on the Fugs list. Okay, this is and the other two are really tied for number 1. The first two. Okay. This is the fucking self-titled Fugs record, which is the second one. And it has songs like Dirty Old Man, which is awesome. Group Grope is a pretty good title, but like Frenzy is a great fucking title. God, this whole thing is good, man. Fucking Virgin Forest. And then I actually have 2 different covers on the first Fugs record, which on the label of one of them says the first Fug album. Yeah, they're kind of funny. They like we're kind of, something. In fact, for me, I don't really tend to like funny shit, but I'm all over the Fugs. Look all those fucking jazz records on ESP on the back there. Yeah, they did like this fucking song on here called "Nothing" is probably the high point of the album, but "How Sweet I Roamed from Field to Field" by William Blake and Ed Sanders. I mean, just the credits on this are a joke, The Swinburne Stomp by A.C. Swinburne and Ed Sanders. So, yeah, man, these records are pretty crazy. Um, oh yeah, and thanks to Ron, actually, our very own Ron Haggerty. This came out with a couple different covers on this different ESP press, actually an earlier press than that one. And I'm enough of a fan that yeah, I kind of freaked out a little bit. It is sort of like beat poetry, you know, but I almost hate to say that because like when I think of beat poetry, I think completely pretentious and bullshit. And you could accuse the Fugs of that if you wanted to, really. You know what I mean? If you want to like look at all this and like sort of their political statement and whatever else, you could make the Fugs like really unpleasantly pretentious. Really, you'd be an asshole for doing it. I think, but I think you could make the argument. Now this is sort of like the bonus shit. This is the shit that Lester Banks totally turned me on to. Was the gods. And it was like, yeah, the gods are like the Fugs, only more. Fucking blew my mind. So yeah, the gods. I only have the first 2 records. I actually used to have the third one. It's nowhere near as good as these first 2, but this is probably the best one. It has this comic on the back. Which says, "Hey, say Clyde, have you heard of the gods? Or have you heard the gods?" And he goes, "Don't be silly. I'm an atheist." And then he's like, "Well, no, the gods are great." But what is silly? Like the fucking comic is so awesome. Fucking so good, dude. This record, and look at that, such a hokey looking cover, given how shitty this is. But this is really the top of the heap when it comes to the shitty records, man. This is fucking Contact High with the Gods. And this was actually one of the very first records I ever bought on the internet. The very first time I sent away for records was for a copy of Loose and Lethal by Savage and a copy of Darkness Descends by Dark Angel. But like maybe the third or fourth time I sent away for a record was to get this from the Antiquarium in Omaha, Nebraska, which I ended up visiting later on. Like the reason I needed to go looking for it when I was in Omaha later was because I'd found him and bought a record from him. And you know, if they have a fucking Gods record, Jesus. Yeah, fucking Contact High with the Gods. So Cosmic Brian, man. That's 5 fucking records you need, man. Although you can make do with the first 2 Fugs and the Gods too, really. So I'm gonna set these over here so I don't mix this shit up. Now I think I showed these secondhand records, didn't I? Last time I streamed? How many people are right now? Oh shit, I'm up to 17. Hey, fuck yeah. Anyway, secondhand is really good. Just like old like psychedelic rock band. They're like good and rocking, and I don't remember them very well, but I remember really liking them. So yeah, this is the first record, Reality. And you know what's funny is apparently when this record originally came out, like it was made to like look kind of beat up. Oh, you know about the Antiquarium, Lazarus? No shit, you're in California too. What the fuck is Well, I mean, I'm not anymore, but I was at the time. What the fuck is your connection to Omaha? I went there to work on a project for work. Well, anyway, secondhand. So apparently the original record was like made to look like kind of beat up. But on this reissue, I don't know if they actually cleaned it up or if they just like didn't go to the extra trouble, but it's all like pristine. But then this one, this fucking cover's kind of torn. So I remember I got a deal because of that. It was a bummer, but it's a nice pressing though. It's an Essex. So by the way, the Antiquarium, I don't know that they are still going on. I was told that they were not, but I haven't really wanted to believe it in my heart. And this was before COVID, so since then it can't have gotten better, you know. Well, I suppose it could have theoretically, but 20 years ago they weren't set up for mail order when I first went there. I had more fun in Omaha than I expected. That there was that place, and there was a steakhouse, and I had an expense account, so I didn't give a shit, right? But there's a steakhouse called Brother Sebastian's, which was set up like a fucking old monastery. Like the people there wore like like monks, like what are those robes called? Not cassocks, but there's something that's similar to that, like the ropes and shit. And there were like different rooms set up and like chants and shit. And really good steak. I mean, in Nebraska, I'm like, I'm gonna eat steak, right? Hey, Henry Chinchilla Molina, welcome, dude. So this is the second hand album, Death May Be Your Santa Claus. Yeah, this was actually probably a little less straight rock than the first one, but I remember liking it more. So this one I bought for the cover, and I don't think I ever played. But they're called Scorpion. The mail order makes sense, Laz. Yeah, it's funny, man. Like a lot of times, my stories for these records are more like why I got interested in them than why I actually bought them. You know, the store you work for is actually having the best year ever. No shit, that's good. I mean, I guess you adapted to the mail order well. You know. Right on, Brian. And listen, dude, these records get reissued, especially the thugs. Don't go out and spend a big pile of money because you don't need to. You can find that shit. If you can't, let me know and I'll help you. I hope it doesn't sound shitty, but you know, I can find things. All right, so this is the Savage Resurrection, which is actually, I don't think I even posted this one because this is one of the hippie shit ones that I really liked. Although, you know which one I need to find is that fucking St. John Green one. You know that one that Vinyl Richie showed in like 6 consecutive videos? No, like Catholic monks, like medieval monks, Eric. Not like Buddhist monks. So it made a little more sense out in Nebraska, although I suppose not a ton, really. Is Nebraska really Catholic, actually? I don't think so, but anyway. This is a really cool record. This is one of the ones that I heard was great and actually was great. The St. John Green record, it's kind of been eating at me a little bit because I don't want to spend much for it. But yeah. So I'm curious if anyone's heard of Rick Saucedo. This record, Heaven Was Blue. That's a really weird, cheap ass reissue. It's actually numbered and limited to 300. And I bought it when I saw it at Amoeba in LA. It's actually in a plastic thing. And like the front and back are separate slicks, and it's actually just like in a plain white jacket. But yeah, this is like some weird, like psychedelic, like loner. I don't want to call it folk thing, but it's really just the guitar, a little bit of sound. It's mostly Rick Saucedo himself, basically, is what I'm saying. And it didn't really rip my face off. Maybe I should listen to it again. But I got interested in this because I saw it on a list for like hundreds of dollars, like I mean, like $800 or something like that. And so when I saw this kicking around, I was like, you know something? If there's one person on this planet willing to spend $800 on that record, I kind of want to know why. Yeah, Lutheran Methodist territory, old like mainline Protestants, probably some evangelicals, especially out in the country, but fundamentally the Midwest is like good mainline Protestants. You know, there are a lot of Catholics in like Cleveland because of the polls. But yeah, I wouldn't have expected a monastery in Omaha. But it wasn't a monastery; it was a restaurant. So I really like this shit. This is amalgamation by what's his name, Masahiko Sato and Soundbreakers. Amoeba just reopened. That's good news, man. This is just like weird, like noisy shit though. Like I don't know if this is really like yeah, like tunic. I don't know if this is like tape collage shit or what it is technically, but I don't know. I like this sort of thing. Um, I kind of have less patience for this sort of thing than I used to. Like this kind of like just noisy shit. I mean, I still like it. And some of it I like a lot, you know. But I can get impatient when it feels gratuitous. And some of those Japanese records kind of go close to that line for me. I'm like, yeah, you're just fucking around, dude, you know. Is that Scorpio record kind of funk? I think it is actually. I should probably play it. Here's a record that's kind of disappointing. Okay, this fucking Sarcophagus record, the Finnish band. And you may have heard that you're maybe thinking, well, Sarcophagus, they put out this record called, oh, what the fuck is it called? What's the fucking good Sarcophagus record called? And that one's great. Well, that one is great, but this is like 70s shit. And man, you tell me fucking Sarcophagus live in the studio in 1979, I am so in and ready to love that shit. But I've played this record a few times, man, and it just sucks, man. It's just boring, man. Like it's sad, dude. It is kind of a nice cover, you know. So anyway, get that other. God, it's gonna bug me. Hang on a sec. Let me figure this shit out real quick. I want to know what the sarcophagus is called now. Oh god damn it! Being a dumbass here. I'm searching. Yeah, Envoy of Death. That record's great. Okay, I actually kind of, after being disappointed by this record, I went to kind of a lot of effort to get a copy of Envoy of Death. I think I literally got the last copy of that last reissue a few years ago. I think I got the last one in the world that wasn't priced like high, but I was fortunate. Anyway, that like earlier sarcophagus, I suppose it isn't really that different from if someone says, "Hey, this Earth demo, this is like Black Sabbath before they were Black Sabbath," you know, and you go, "Holy shit, really?" And you know that sets your expectations so high, and it's just not really that great, you know. Little Santana Abraxas. You know, I think this record's boring. I got this when I was into hippie shit. I actually got this from Grano. But when I was doing the hippie shit thing a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I should give Santana another chance too. Now that I like Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane, Santana's still lame, man. Can't really hang with that shit. And there's kind of nothing wrong with it either, you know. It's just I don't know, the songs just aren't good. I don't know, man. I'm not the biggest fan of that particular Latin sound either, if I'm honest. Like it always takes a little extra for me to dig something like that. You know, there are a few jazz records like that I can take. Like I can totally hang with Ike Quebec's Bossa Nova record, but a lot of time that sort of Latin thing just feels kind of gimmicky to me. And in Santana's case, I think it probably kind of was too, although it was smart and like well played. So I'm not shitting on Carlos Santana here. I might some other time, but no, right now, yeah, I have Angel Witch and Peas, man. Yeah, there you go, DJ Trish. Right on, taking me to task. Good. And he puts on a hell of a live show. How about that? Oh, and there's Mr. Vinyl Richie himself. We were just talking about that fucking St. John Green album and how I still kind of covet that, even though I've been off that style a little bit. But that Savage Resurrection record, which I'm pretty sure you showed too, man. I'm all over that shit. So check out this Korean one, the Sanwo Lim. It's not that great, you know. So they have like two Korean records. That Magma one that I showed last time. Hey, Brian, man, welcome, dude. Uh, and this one, and it's just not very good, man. Like I really want to dig it, but it's just kind of boring, you know. It's not terrible. This record is cool, and this is one that people don't talk about, including me, actually. I should play this again because it's been so long. But this is Sambo no San. This is a Japanese one that is like, it's just fucking, it's like this three piece, like these just like hard rocking, like weirdo, like balls out Japanese songs, man. It's fucking great. I was showing Abraxas just a minute ago, Vinyl Richie, and I'll tell you, maybe it's just that I've heard the big hits too much or something, but I don't know. Chikara Ueda and the Power Station. That doesn't ring a bell like at all. I mean, I've heard of a different band called Power Station, but I think that's someone else you're talking about. Yeah. Anyway, Sambu no San is great. Um, you know, I kind of fucking extol the virtues of blind buying shit a lot. I bought this because it was Japanese, because it had a weird cover, and because it was on the Shaddix label. I talk about shopping by label. You know, I don't give record collector tips very often on my channel either, so like I'm giving you one right now. Shit on this label tends to become really collectible. Okay, it depends on what it is, but like I have $1,000 record that I financed by selling off a bunch of Shaddix LPs I bought several years earlier, and they had been 45 bucks a pop at the time. But when I was selling them for 140, I was able to turn a few of those around and finance one of my most expensive records. So that was kind of what I knew about these guys, okay? And now back to no more business end of this shit. Um, Samba no San, though, I just found because of like the label it was on, and then it looked weird and cool, and it's just a fucking gem of a record that for some reason people don't really seem to know very well. Just because they haven't gotten lucky, I guess. You know, maybe Lars Ulrich will figure out who they are eventually. Julian Cope or someone like that. Yeah, I don't remember playing this one once, but it sure looks cool, doesn't it? Fucking Samurai. That's a double. These guys are, well, I don't know. I think these guys are like half Japanese or something. It's like two English guys and two Japanese guys or something. It's a guitar player, a flute player, and a bass player who look very Japanese. But I'm trying to figure it out based on the title. It's like Walker, Curtis, Tetsu, and Dunnett. So Hiro Izumi, Walker, Curtis for Five Tone Blues. So you know, I should probably listen to it again, man. Yeah, this is another obscure. This is another one. This label is also shady provenance, but fucking Acid Nightmare Records generally put out really cool shit. And the Samuel Prodi record, even though it has a fucking Jesus Christ Superstar song in it, which I generally loathe, is really cool. I just look at this, man. I'm a total sucker for this kind of graphic design. Look at that. See that shit? That's awesome. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, it's a cool record. Made in Europe, limited to 500 copies, or so it says. Samuel Brody. I don't really know anything about him. I kind of just got him because that looks like the sort of thing I would like. I'm going through what, maybe 40 or something here. How are we doing for time? I didn't know what time I started, so I guess it doesn't fucking matter. All right, here we go. Brother Brian, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. I'll try to talk much you listening while you're crashing. Yeah, limited copies. Yeah, I think you're right to not trust those anymore. Because, like, either it doesn't matter or it's weaponized against you. You know what I mean? And, like, the record store day thing where they, like, underpress, then they're weaponizing it. So I just want to tell them to fuck off anyway, right? But, I don't know. On the other hand, if if you figure that you can move about 1,500 copies of a record, say, and it takes about 6 months to a year and you sell through them and then it's gone, I kind of understand that. I don't really resent that a whole lot because it's like you sort of figured out this is about you're projecting your demand basically. It's as simple as that. And even though it might suck if you turn on the band a year later, it kind of sucks for you, but you can lose so much money pressing records that it's hard for me to be too pissy about it. Fucking Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs, dude. Speaking of Lester Bangs, right? Fucking Willy Bully. Um, yeah, I actually had this and I let go of it, and then I came across this beautiful copy of this for like $10 in either Greenville or Columbia. It was in South Carolina, Second Charles. And I don't know. I just had to pay my respects. I don't know that I've played this copy once, to tell you the truth. But like, you know, it's really kind of a turd. Vinyl Richie says Willy Bully's not very good. It's kind of right, but you know, it's fucking Sam the Sham, man. This record I really like a lot. This one I haven't listened. This is one of the few Zamrock records I have. This is Salty Dog. And this is kind of bluesy for the shit that I tend to go to, but it's just fucking rocking and awesome. As a collector, from time to time you hear like someone will come up with something new. There's this new scene and this new like sort of niche that no one's heard of before. It's this new cool thing to check out. And like Zambia, it's like holy shit, there was fucking rock and roll in the '70s in Zambia. You want that to be so cool, and this actually lives up to that. And there are a couple other bands that do too, like Wells Fargo, which I have thanks to Harmless Rebel to plug him again. Fucking yeah, exactly. Like fucking Sam the Sham, they dressed up like fucking pharaohs. How can you like be mad at that? But this is awesome, dude. Fucking Salty Dog is really great, and Witch is really good. And if you give me a couple minutes, I might be able to come up with one or two other fucking names from Zambia. But after those three, I go down the hill. But they're so good, dude. This is another cool old hard rocker that I actually got because it was on Akarma, and I just blind bought pretty much anything I found on that label, and these were coming out because they put out cool shit like Salem, Mass, man, Witch Burning. Look at that fucking cover. And like originals are like I don't know, probably obscene. I don't even have any idea, but yeah, I just obscure. Yeah, fucking man, I'm sitting here trying to think of shit to say. I don't know anything to say about these records. There's a fucking insert in here and shit. I suppose I could look at that, but I'm not going to. Yeah, Salem, Mass is good though, dude. shit. Yeah, I should probably put a new sleeve on this thing because this guy's a little tight. Just use my gut to push it back into the sleeve in case you're on, so I can hold it in position like that. So there you go. Brian has the right sense there. Yeah, loving Sam the Sham because you gotta love him, even though the record isn't that great. It's pretty much right there. This is Saga from Sweden. There's another one I got because we was on Acid Nightmare, to tell you the truth, but it's a really cool sort of like moody. It's definitely a prog record. I think I said Psych a minute ago, but it's much more of a prog record. But it's kind of weird. It's not like Precious, and it's not like jokey like some of the shit. It's not as like the English shit. It's not as brooding as the German shit. But it's a really good record all around. It's not the greatest thing of all time, but yeah. Yeah, Mr. Indio, man, the fucking mustache. I couldn't take it. It just like outstayed its welcome, you know. Fucking Caress of Steel. I actually had the first three Rush albums, but the first two went. So this is the only one I have left. And yeah, it's a pretty decent copy or whatever. Now we're coming up on a band that I've never understood the hype. Yeah, Saga On the Loose was their hit, the Canadian band that you're thinking of, Nate. This is a different Saga. Yeah, Roxy Music, man, for your pleasure. I think this is a white label promo, but I'm not sure. Let's take a look. It's a pretty nice copy, though. But yeah, this is like my second or third copy of this record, too. You know, it's like I'll get it and I'll not really get what the hype is about, so I'll unload it and then I'll give another chance because I'll come across it somewhere cheap. And yeah, it's kind of cool. It's a white label promo. Yeah, it's a good record. But I don't know, man. You know, I guess it doesn't live up to the fucking pictures for me. You know what I mean? And they don't. This doesn't really look like the kind of band that I would be so like excited about now. But when I was like 20, this is like what I wanted my bands to look like and sound like. And these guys just never quite lived up to it. You know. So yeah, so someone set me straight if I'm wrong about Roxy Music. Then Avalon obviously is terrible. I probably listen to this one more than most of the other ones. Maybe the first one, which I don't even have right now, but I used to. It's a pretty decent copy of this one here too. Stranded. I don't remember anything about this record at all. Oh, Mazzy's on. Yeah, yeah. Sam the Sham. Wasn't he like Armenian or something like that too? No, that's Dave Seville I'm thinking of. Because his name was Domingo Samudio, I think. Sam the Sham. I could see that. Good, but a little overrated, like Talking Heads. Thing is, eventually it clicked for me with Talking Heads. I'm not the biggest Talking Heads fan in the world, but like, I understand what the hype is about a record like Fear of Music. You know, it's a great record. I actually almost bought a copy a couple times over the last few months, but I never did because I figured I'd never play it if I brought it home. But that's a great record, you know. But I never had that same sort of moment of clarity with. So this one, actually, look at that. This one's so special that it has a piece of cardboard in front of it. This is Io Come Io by Il Rovescio della Medaglia. It's a band I've kind of hyped a few times. And this is like, this one's not going anywhere, by the way. Yeah, you see it has this weird like metal on there. This thing like pasted on there. It's like, so like I don't want that to get fucked up. So along with my cover, it's like metal, or it feels like anyway. But along with Sticky Finger, where I also have a piece of cardboard in front like that, so it doesn't fuck up the other records. This one does that. This is an awesome record, though, man. If you're gonna check out one Italian record, I might, I might say the Osage Tribe record, but I would probably say Io Come Io by Lorenzo della Medaglia. I love this fucking record. And actually, this other one was actually the first one I got, and this one is just as good. This is La Bibia. It doesn't have all that like weird gimmick cover shit, but it's a fantastic record. One of my very favorite Italian bands. Okay, I don't know what the fuck this is. This is kind of one of those records that just sort of ended up in my collection. I don't know what the fuck it is. Yeah, Paul, I think we did play Il Robesco della Medelia. I mean, fucking, I was really into that record for kind of a long time. I played those guys a lot. Classic right here. Rose Tattoo. Yeah, I probably played this record as much as I played the early AC/DC records. No, not that much, but enough that fucking I know this record inside now. It's a great record. I think that's an upgraded copy. Come to think of it, I think he has another one. I did. I have listened to Babe Ruth. I don't remember being impressed. Actually, it's possible I never actually played that record. Come to think of it, I know I've seen it. I know what record you're talking about, but I remember this being kind of a cool hard rocker. It's a Spanish one, Roxalona, La Bruja. Dude, Rose Tattoo doesn't suck. Rose Tattoo made some really, really wimpy records. Rose Tattoo made one great record though, and it's the one I just showed, and it's awesome. I can totally believe they're good in '82. Yeah, here's a French one I don't know anything about. It just looked weird and it was on sale, and that's about how good it is. I mean, Rob Joe Star Band, some French obscuro, kind of psychedelic, but I think more punk era as far as time goes. I don't even remember. Maybe it says on the inside. It's not really that great. It's kind of interesting though. No, there's no fucking you're on it, but it's funny because it's on Apple Records. You get it? Anyway, there's nothing wrong with it, but uh, that's funny. If it looked, this looks like the cover for a Cure record. It's probably the resolution. I could totally buy the concept, but if you like look closely, like the execution is way cheaper than the Cure. Let's see. Yeah, I've got this Road record here too. I don't remember what the appeal was with this record. I think it was on a label that did other good shit, but I don't know. It's kind of like an ordinary rock and roll record, as I recall. Noel Redding's on it. It's not bad. Yeah, man, we're going through a pretty big box here. Trying to keep room in the box and have shit like not get crushed. Yeah. Oh, I gotta flip that anyway. Look at this piece of shit. Why do I have this? My kitchen collection. No, my computer's set up like off to the side of the kitchen. Mazzy's asking if this is my kitchen collection. No, actually, if you're looking on the thing, my kitchen's sort of right behind me. My living room is like right over here, like right back there. If you see like right where my thumb is, there's a picture frame at the bottom there, and my record player is right underneath that picture frame. And Lazarus is asking if there's a purge. It's not a purge in that I don't need to get rid of this stuff, but like I like to raise a little bit of money for a particular reason, and I'm going through and I mean it's just bills actually, it's nothing exciting, but I'm going through and just reconsidering what records I actually don't play ever, So it's it's cool to have this shit, I figure I can let go of a lot of shit and still have a lot of records. So that's kind of what's going on. That and I'm putting on another Sword Baltimore record. Yeah, it's dark enough in there. I can't see what side I'm putting on. It's kind of funny. I don't have any microwave albums. Oh, you know something? I do have one that's that bad. I have a copy of Moontan that's fucking trashed. And like, I have 3 copies of Moontan. Why the fuck do I have 3 copies of Moontan? Um, but like, actually, I know why. I got one because it's like an earlier European pressing, and then I already had 2 other ones, and one was an upgrade. So the other one, the trash one, was probably my first one. But it is so fucking wrecked, like more than I realized. So, Vicky, right on. Congratulations, it's awesome. That Rose Tattoo record is awesome. So check this out. This fucking Rex, right? But it's like a white label promo. You see that shit? And like, there's fucking like press shit in here. Like, why do I have this fucking Rex promo kit? Look at this. Maybe they sent out a fuckload of these. I mean, I know this guy got a pretty big, some hype that wasn't necessarily deserved. Ah, oh, my nose is itching the fuck out of me today. So, yeah, so this guy's kind of a wimp. I don't even know why I have this record. I've heard his first record kind of rocks a little bit, even though he looks like a wimp. So I've been curious, but I'm pretty sure I never actually put this on. I probably got it for free. I hope I got it for free. Yeah, as far as looking like hair metal, this is early for that. It's like it's earlier than I thought. Actually, this is '77. So yeah, I mean it's kind of in its roots. You get it, like hair metal, like roots. Yeah, got this one cheap somewhere along the way. I don't know if I've ever played that. This one I've played though. This is great. This also isn't going anywhere. But there we go, man. Metal Machine music. I'll bet y'all are jelly now. You know what's awesome about this fucking copy of Metal Machine music? See, I used to have a perfect copy of this, but all copies of this are perfect, except for this one. See, someone actually wrote his name on the label for one thing. Like James. I want to know, I'd like to know if he like wrote his name on the label of this before or after he played it. But yeah, they're like, I mean, this record's in very good shape, don't get me wrong. But there are like a couple little scuffs on it and shit. And you never see that on Metal Machine music. They're always perfect, you know? So this is like a really special copy of Metal Machine music. No, I don't have Lulu. I don't have very much Lou Reed, Mazzy. I listen to some Lou Reed. Like, I was never a really big fan, honestly. I mean, I did the Velvets, right? The Velvets records are over there. Those aren't going anywhere. The Lou Reed solo, I always thought Berlin was overrated. I always thought, well, I mean, this just is a piece of shit. I mean, obviously, you know. I mean, it's funny. I can kind of hang with it on some level, in fact, but it's not good, you know. And then this is a classic, but kind of for all the wrong reasons, right? I mean, I'm honest. And I probably like his first solo album better than any other ones. With Satellite of Love on it. But if I still had it, I'd still never play it. So, I can totally believe Lulu's gone up. Half Machine by Chrome, yes. Half Machine Let Move is a fantastic record. That's also a record that's not going anywhere. That's my last little sip of the Hello Kitty Fizzy Pop for anyone who might not have seen it yet. saw this to finish enough to get another drink. So these records are pretty much staying here too, but this might be my favorite Red Crayola record, Coconut Hotel. And yeah, this, like it says 1967, but I don't think this actually got released until like the 90s, because this just sort of started turning up in record stores, and I'd never heard of it or seen it before. But I love this record, man. Melvin Ramone's on the same wavelength with the Lester Bangs about White Lightweight Heat. Yeah, my copy's been played, but I probably treat it well. I don't know if Lester would be able to tell anyway, because fucking what that fucker did with his records. Anyway, this is a great record. Red Crayola. Fact Tricks. All right, I'll make a note of that. I've never heard of Fact Tricks. So say if I like Chrome, I should check them out. So. Okay, if I have any first press Chrome records I want to sell, like Chris Snow, it's not very likely, I'm afraid. Yeah, you want to see my Chrome albums? I can pull them out if you want. But this is the Red Crayola for now. I love this one too. Actually, this is a great record. It's fucking Red Crayola. I might like these guys even more than 13th Floor Elevators, except for Easter Everywhere. But this one, I've never liked as much as I wanted to. This was kind of, I mean, I bought this one on the strength of the cover. They're called the Red Crayola, and I couldn't believe it. I had no idea who they were, and I was 16, and I was like, I'm going to bring that home right now. So, it isn't really all that, but the band is. I think the other ones are great. So, I just got this out. Are you coming back? Yeah. Okay. I got this one cheap. I don't think I ever played it. Some old like psych thing probably. It's on Golden Pavilion, which is a label that does some pretty cool shit. But yeah, there was actually a an earshot here. If you watch Grown Man Record Night, they talk about that shop because there's one in Winston that's like been there. There's one in Charleston for a while, but they went out of business. And when they did, I scooped up a few things I'd sort of been eyeing because they were really cheap, and this was one of them. So Cosmic Brian's saying he tried to dig Parable of Arable Land, but also see the thing with that record is I feel like the freeform freakouts are forced. You know what I mean? It's like what I was talking about earlier. Is like some of that kind of shit. When people do that kind of freeform shit, I don't have as much patience for as I used to. But even before that, I still just never really. It just never really grabbed me that record. So yeah, that Raven's pretty much just hard rock. I think I don't think I ever played it, so I don't want to swear by it. So first Raspberries record, the Pride of Cleveland, the first half of the '70s. Melvin Rowe's talking about chrome reissues. That was the Russian ones. I think that was Lilith who did those, wasn't it? I think I have one of those too, but most of mine are originals. So anyway, I like the Raspberries. I really do. It is a scratch and sniff record, although this one didn't have a sticker and appears never to have had one on it. But yeah, it's a classic. All right, so here's a noisy Japanese band that I really like a lot. This is Les Rallies Day. I'm not sure if that's real French or not, though, quite if I'm honest. This has the Ballad of Cable Hogue soundtrack, which is awesome, and Heavier Than a Death in the Family, which is such a great title. And Blind Baby Has Its Mother's Eyes. Yeah, and these are all Phoenix ones too. Man, these are great. Like this is what I wish all like the Japanese weirdo shit sounded like. Now I'm down with Speed Glue and Shinky, like the hard rockers, and obviously the Flower Traveling Man, Blues Creation. But these guys are really something, man. I feel like this is what I wish those guys like Masahiko Sato and guys like that were up to, you know. because these guys are just fucking crazy and amazing and great. Yeah, I'm running out of room in this box here. Let me like move some shit around a little bit. Ugh. Oh shit! There's a big surprise back of this stack here. Y'all are gonna love this shit. Hey, Liaison, right on, man. You did give me that split. It's fucking fantastic. That's in a different place. That's over right by the record players where that shit is. Yeah, credit where it's due. Everyone subscribed to This Machine Kills Music. I kind of got this one at the very end of my hippie shit kick, and so I didn't spend a lot of time with it. I did like it, as I recall, and kind of just enjoyed the fact that I liked it because I'd never liked him before. You know what I mean? It's just like knowing that I liked it now kind of felt good. But I can't really say I spent a lot of time with it. The Fool is the track on here. Yeah, there we go. All right, well, I'll keep that in mind next time I play it. It might be a while, honestly, but hell. Well, here, speaking of the devil, since these guys came up in conversation before, I think this record is much better than the Seeds. First of all, the Seeds don't have this guy. Right? This is an original, too, by the way. This is, I mean, I don't know how many pressings there were of this, but there have been reissues kicking around. But this is a legit cameo. Yeah, look at that shit. It's pretty cool. I've had this for a long time now. Great record though. Yeah, Mazzy. I was telling everybody that I saw Question Mark and the Mysterians in like 1997 or 98 at the Great American Music Hall. We had just moved to an apartment on Post Street between Jones and Leavenworth, and we were driving by on Geary. It said Question Mark and the Mysterians on the marquee of the Great American Music Hall, and I couldn't believe it. I called him up and I was like, "Wait, is this like the Question Mark and the Mysterians?" They're like, "Yeah." So we went there. Oh, and I just mixed a couple of these up, so I gotta get my spot back here. Yeah, by the way, they're from Michigan, I think. The Question Mark and the Mysterians. Because I actually had a T-shirt, and on the back of it says Michigan Rock and Roll. Yeah, that's right, man. The Blue Lamp Bar was right nearby. I actually never went to that place. It's always a little bit too hip for me. Same thing with the Red Room, those lights ones, but the Blue Lamp was cool. All right. You know where I used to go to a lot was Mr. Bing's in North Beach. That was like one of the places where I had a few. Um, yeah, Rainbow Folly. I don't think I even cracked this yet. But this, yeah, it's fucking sealed. There was one of these record store day ones when they did the Tomorrow and they did the Gods. And this was sort of the odd man out. So I waited patiently until it turned up at the half off bin and grabbed it. And someday I'm going to crack it and really enjoy it a lot. Yeah, the Mitchell Brothers. The place we're talking about is right by the Mitchell Brothers Theater. So Mazzy isn't just gratuitously trying to turn the conversation to porn. This is another really good Italian one. Not one of my very favorites, but a really solid one. Like, you know, if I'm going to say like, you know, top tiers like Il Rovescio della Medaglia and bottom tiers like, I don't know, Che la Vecchia Loconda, then these guys are solidly in the middle tier. Vinyls and Bits for my cooking show name. All right, Lazarus just came up with an awesome cooking show name. For everyone watching this later on, fucking Vinyls and Bits. All right, Killer Vecchia Loconda goes here. I've shown this before, I think. This is like, out of all the Italian prog bands, this is probably the most precious one. You know, it's just kind of not. what I want, Damon and Helios played from Mitchell's live shit in San Francisco. I actually saw Chrome at the Great American Music Hall too. So a few years later, I mean, it was just the one guy by that point. It's probably like second half of the '90s. You gotta remember the drink. There's another hippie one. This one came from Ron too. Actually, this is the Queen's Nectarine Machine. And it's actually more rockin' than it looks too, this one. I mean, look at these guys. They look pretty. They look like White Witch or something, right? This isn't like, the Lost, this isn't like Iron Claw or something like that, right? But it's more rockin' than it looks. Look at this. Fucking Queen records. I used to have all this shit. I got rid of them. Got them again. I don't even remember where this one came from, but I might have bought this in North Carolina actually, but I don't know. This might be my favorite Queen record though. If I had to pick one, like In the Lap of the Gods and shit like that, I can totally hang with. This one took me a long time to come around on. Even when I was like a bigger Queen fan, when I was like in my teens, this record I found hard to listen to. But really, just sort of in this last iteration, I've kind of come around. This copy I bought in Brattleboro, Vermont. Yeah, and this is the first Queen record, which is probably my favorite as far as the one I play the most. So that's a little bit tough between those two. Here's a little bit of a gem right here is Quatermass. I don't know how many of y'all are getting hip to this thing, but yeah, has that weird cover, and this is like a double version on Karma, which I kind of don't like. I wish it was just the original LP. I mean, I've gone off on vinyl on bonus tracks enough times that y'all probably know the drill right now. And side 4 is bonus tracks, so I don't know exactly what they had in mind, but this is pretty rocking for a prog record. If you ever listen to the first Elf album, not first Elf album, the first Rainbow album, that song Black Sheep of the Family was originally on this record. That was a cover. And yeah, it doesn't turn up every day either. So this is well, this record shows that when England wanted, like, put its mind to it, they could make really fucking good prog records too, and weren't just like, weenies about it and shit. All right, so this next one, I suppose, is kind of a metal theologian classic because we're at the we're sort of going backwards in the alphabet, and this is at the end of my P section. So this is the Pig record. Unfortunately, it doesn't live up to the amazingness of this cover. Oh fuck! Look at that. Insert fell out. Original first album. And but what's really special about this one, it has this gatefold and shit, right? But it says push on the nose if you see there, because there's a squeaky thing which is actually slipped, but it still squeaks. So yeah, the Pig record. It's really not that great. I wish this record were great. I really do, man. But it's like it's kind of beat, kind of Japanese. Like I don't know, man. Maybe someday I'll pull this out and be like, this is great. But like, I really like the Jacks too. You know what I mean? They're pretty much beat, but they just do it right. This Pig shit is like, I don't know, man. Maybe they just set too high a bar with that cover, man. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's another one I got in the early days of the internet, actually. So when I found it on a list in Japan, you know who has that big black album is Vinyl Richie. Ask him to show that thing. I actually don't have it. I kind of came to that band too late for that sort of thing. I'm not that big a fan anyway. I mean, I like Big Black. Don't get me wrong. But like, I wasn't into him at the time, and like now, I'm not fanatical enough to go seek something like that out. You know, especially since it's something I kind of don't necessarily want to look at. You know. But who else were we talking about for? Oh, someone was talking about Iron Claw. I could pull that out. It's not in the stack. But that's just a reissue anyway, you know. That never came out at the time, you know. It's another pretty good Italian one. It's Procession. Frontiera. Yeah, prog, kind of more on the rockin' side, as I recall. Can't really trust my memory on this shit. Yeah, I'll bet that Big Black did scare the shit out of you when you were fucking 16. Would have freaked me out too. Welcome, Just Al, man. Novelty covers. It's tempting, but I don't have as many novelty covers as I used to. I let go of some. So, anyway, this Primeval record is pretty cool too, man. Smoking Bats at Campton's. Yeah, in 1974 on 700 West Music, which is the same label, as it were, as Hell's Fire by Miss Trader. But this is a reissue that I would be surprised if proper legal clearances had been requested and granted. But it's a cool record, and you know, it's not a fantastic record. Like that Mistreater record, I think is one of the greatest fucking things ever. This Primeval record is not bad, but it's totally worth keeping around. I should probably play it again. It's been a while. I keep saying that, but sorry, it comes to true. It does kind of look like Venom. I mean, I'd almost wonder if, you know, they'd had it. In fact, some friend of mine from work showed me like, linked me to some article or something where they're talking about obscure shit from the 70s. They mentioned this band, you know, as like, you know, some of these also ran heavy bands. And I was like, dude, you might be able to call them influential if anyone had heard them, you know. I'd like to believe that fucking Primeval like spawned like, I don't know, who came after 74. I don't give a shit. It's not a very interesting conversation to me. Keep the pretty things another chance. I was doing my hippie thing shit. This isn't really the right one for that because it's Parachute. But SF Sorrow is kind of more like that. They didn't really do a whole lot for me. But overall, the Pretty Things have kind of been one of those bands I've kind of always wanted to like more than I actually have liked. So these represent a couple of chances I've given them, and I don't have anything bad to say for them. But even when I was more into that style of music, I wasn't really a huge fan. Elvis Presley. I actually have three Elvis records. I have this one, I have this one, and I have the classic because I have to have this, right? I mean, I can't let go of this. I have to keep a copy of this around. Fucking, it's having fun with Elvis on stage. You know, this is the record that might be as bad as Metal Machine music, right? It's classic. So that's gonna stay here forever. The other two I might let go of, but you know, I've listened to a lot of Elvis. Actually, if y'all remember that CD box set that came out like in the '90s, it was like 6 discs or something. I bought that and I played it a lot, like every day, a lot for a while. That and Fats Domino, actually, I played a lot of. Those are two box sets where I really got my fucking money's worth out. Well, that's one box of records. Packed tightly, it's about 100 records. This isn't packed very tightly, so maybe it was 80 or 90, something like that. So how are we doing? We've got 30 people watching. Should I grab another box, or are we going to turn into a pumpkin? Yeah, Elvis is awesome. And Fat Elvis, as far as Fat Elvis being the best Elvis, that's fun to say. But dude, if you listen to those fucking like, I mean, the Sun records kind of people talk about, right? But that like, that Golden Hits record, the RCA shit, the early stuff, is fucking. I mean, it's magical, man. It's just fucking fantastic. Lazarus is saying box two, so I'm gonna grab another box. It's not all boxed up is a problem. A lot of it isn't. So what's boxed up is the easy shit to pull out. Um, Maybe I'll do a little like room tour or something sometime with my camera, like the way shit is right now, because I've rearranged some shit. It's really kind of weird. But oh, but Elvis is just fucking amazing, man. But you listen to like after the shit after the dude everything after he came back from the army, all of his movies, all that shit, man. I mean, a lot of that's just so like sad in a way. Like I understand in a way, and it's I don't like feel sorry for him in a way either, because it's fucking Elvis, right? But on the other hand, there was like so much there and so much shit came out of it. You know what I mean? And especially like in the '70s, dude. See, because I hyped that shit up and I went, oh man, Fat Elvis is cool, Elvis, right? I'm totally overanalyzing this, I realize. But yeah, and then like at some point or another, I actually like, tried to listen to like an Elvis concert from the '70s, and it was unlistenable, dude. The fucking repertoire, like I mean, he's doing like My Way. So like right off, dude, you're like not like Elvis has enough of his own overplayed songs. He doesn't need to fucking lean and dip into Sinatra's overplayed songs. And fucking, so Lazarus here is vouching for the '69 comeback. You're on your own with that one. I actually haven't sat and watched that though, in honesty. And I have heard that that was like a big deal. And that was considered like, you know, a great comeback at the time. Subsequently, though, man, fucking, I mean, and dude, the '60s sucked for Elvis. Elvis in the '50s though was like a god. When I moved out here, I made a point of stopping in Tupelo, Mississippi. There are a couple different ways you could drive from California, right? Of course, I wanted to go to Mississippi and Alabama anyway because I'd never been to either of those states before. This was kind of my opportunity, but we stopped in Memphis for the night and like eat breakfast at a place where Elvis used to eat breakfast, apparently. And the cheese grits there. It was like my first grits, like going back to the South too. It was like a little mound with like a slice of American cheese on top. It was like perfect. And then, yeah, we drove through Tupelo and like went to his fucking birthplace. All right, here's another box. All right, here we go. Yeah, someone said show metal. I appreciate the request, man, but we're not doing metal today. This is like shit that I'm sort of looking through anyway. This is kind of where my head is, and I get excited about metal so much. This is the shit I never show. Like, shit, Vicky, thanks, box 2 gate. Seriously, yeah, okay, so I have 3 boxes. Okay, the shit that I'm like going through that I'm kind of like paring down is mostly like my rock pop section, which is like my prog and my international shit for the most part. So my German shit is kind of sacrosanct because I put a lot of effort into building that German collection. So I pulled all the German shit out. The South American shit I kind of feel the same way about South American and Mexican. So I pulled all that out too. And so what we're going through right now is basically what's left. And it's these 3 boxes plus about 5 cubes. Oh, I also pulled out all the obvious shits, like all the Black Sabbath, the Blue Oyster Cult, the Blood Rock. That's over in a different section now too. because that's the place where it's harder to get to because I don't browse that. You know what I mean? Like this kind of shit, I'll go through and be like, oh, what do I feel like listening to? But I don't do that if I'm in the mood for like, um, I don't know, Deep Purple. You know what I mean? If I want to hear Deep Purple, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go pull the fucking Deep Purple record, and that's all there is to it. You know? All right, cool. Appreciate you appreciate the variety, Peter Brickley. Seriously, because I try to mix it up a little bit. But on the other hand, you know, it is primarily a metal channel. I don't want to be one of those metal guys who's like, oh, well, let me show this other shit to show how smart I am. You know, but there's some space rock in here, lads. There's actually space rock in this stack that like will come. Dude, just stick around, man. It's for you're in California, right? It's fucking 8:15. What do you got going on? Gravy Train is English prog. They're very good as these things go. I kind of don't give a shit about them anymore. This record is great. This Granicus record. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce that. These guys are actually from Cleveland, but they're like American Indians or something. Native American, I should say. It probably says a tribe on here. No, it just says Granicus is the first Native American band I've heard since the late 60s that advances white blues, progressivism, and rock without sacrificing the grassroots populism that infuses all great rock and roll. That sounds like such a load of horse shit, but this has actually been reissued, but I got this shortly before you start being able to find reissues. And so I was fortunate enough to find an original. And you know something, this is not the greatest copy, but these Dynaflex records always sound good. And like that's why I bring up that it's not the. I mean, this isn't a bad copy to tell you the truth. It's pretty good. The cover's kind of rough, but the vinyl's in pretty decent shape. But you know, when you see these people hyping this fucking 180 gram vinyl, well, these Dynaflex ones are floppy as fuck, and they sound as good as any like 180 gram press I've heard. So I don't think it has a whole lot to do with it. This is a great hard rocker, man. It's like a really unusual one. One thing that's really unusual about one is the guy's playing leads during the verses and the songs on the guitar. And that's like really fucking like I always notice that in bands because it's so rare. I can name like 2 or 3 bands where you hear that. And this is one of them. This is fucking fantastic, man. Yeah, there you go, man. Fucking Lads and Mazzy have got my back on the Dynaflex. This is a good space rock one, Laz. Fucking Golem. And there's another more recent reissue of this. This one actually, well, this one's ostensibly German. This is probably fake. But this is one of like a few bands that were discovered in the 90s. These like super obscure like private pressings that where they'd done maybe 100 and just passed them out to a few friends. But somehow like not a single copy. I've been collecting German shit for 30 years now, okay? And somehow not a single copy has ever turned up. No one has seen one. And there aren't that many people who collect this shit. So it's like, yeah, these are probably fake. But like, they got the Freeman brothers and a couple other people to start vouching for this shit. It's like, oh yeah, well, I know this guy who blah blah blah, and this other dude blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, something. I think you're full of horse shit. Anyway, this is one of those, probably a fake band from the '90s, but awesome. And as far as like sort of capturing that kind of spirit of like we're just gonna take a bunch of acid and jam, this record has it in spades, man, and it rocks. This is kind of the most rockin' of the first batch that came out on that sci-fi label back in the 90s, which would have been this and Cosmic Corridors and Galactic Explorers. So this is the one that really grabbed me at the time. Of course, I love them all, but yeah, Golem, Orion Awakes. So yeah, this got another reissue, a more recent one by there's that Mental Experience sub label. It's out of Spain, and I'm spacing it. But they did all of these like sci-fi, these pyramid label ones. So they were on this label called Pyramid, right? So, and they did a really nice version of that with like a silver cover and shit. So of course I had to geek out over that. So here's one of my copies of Moontown that I was kind of talking about or complaining about before. But this one is in pretty decent shape. Um, I don't know what to do with one that's trashed. So, oh, that's funny. Here's where the Gods records go. Yeah, this is another one from Ron, actually. This is a different band called The Gods. These guys are from Ohio. like somewhere outside, not in Cleveland, like like you hear about Cleveland bands and then Ohio bands. This was an Ohio band, you know what I'm saying? But I kind of love this, man. It's like really stupid biker shit, and it's kind of awesome. And this is my favorite record of theirs too. Like they're better known for that Rock and Roll Machines one. I think the songs on this one are just better. Oh shit, that's the Gods right on the Fugs record stuff to go back in there too. Right on, Jay Morey, awesome. So yeah, we talked about the Rainbow Folly. Here's the Gods, which is about half of Uriah Heep, and pretty good psychedelic record. You know, not super heavy, not super druggy, but it's a decent record. If you like Tomorrow, you're gonna like this. You know, it's not as good as the Pink Fairies though. The thing was just warning me a little bit. All right, here's another Italian one, man. The Glee Men, except it's E Glee Men. Look at this fucking cover, man. I'm telling you, the Italians in their cover is just amazing. This is a little bit more rockin'. This isn't as like full on prog as like the band they evolved into. Which one was the Hypnosis cover? The Gods? Is this a Hypnosis cover? Oh, holy shit, you're right. Look at that. Good call, man. Lucas Herzog. Yeah, check this shit out, man. These fucking Italians. Yeah, these guys like evolved into someone else who's like more sort of straight ahead prog. So these guys sound a little bit primitive, but like you hear that and you're expecting like a beat record, and this is not like that. I mean, this is pretty much a '70s prog record. It's just not as operatic as a lot of the other stuff, you know. So yeah, I'm a little surprised this one's still here. This fucking yeah, like the Gillan band, like just called Gillan, those are good. But these Ian Gillan records or Ian Gillan band records from the '70s are pretty crap. Like if you look at this and you go, oh man, it's Ian Gillan, and look at that cover, no man, you're getting played for a sucker. It's really kind of a turd. So it's not terrible, but it's not good. Yeah, AR and the Machines over in the German section, man. Oh, there we go, Garibaldi. Thank you, because here we go. Look at that. This record I like a lot. Nuda by Garibaldi. I don't remember it too well though, because it's been forever. It's fucking trifold cover. Look at this shit. Like, it was coming through it all. Look at that shit. It's so fucking elaborate. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a cool record though. This next one was all Mr. Bizarro. Because he's been talking about this guy forever, and I was kind of like, oh, I listened to one or two of those records, and I wasn't impressed. But I gave this one a chance and really liked it. And I'm glad it's here. And that is Tattoo by Rory Gallagher. I think I have one or two others, but I don't know where they are. Maybe I don't. Anyway, this record's really good, man. Kind of bluesy, good rockin' record. Yeah, right on. All right, so I gotta figure out what's next. I'm gonna go put some on real quick because I can't sit here in the quiet and do this shit. I actually just played all my Sir Lord Baltimore. We just covered their entire career. Yeah, leaving these inners out. I play this All right. How about this one? I don't remember what this one sounds like either, honestly. But it's called Fuzzy Duck, man. And look at that cover. You know, it's funny. Like this is a lot more indicative of my taste when I was like 20. You know, like back then I saw something like this and I was like, I'm there. I gotta hear Fuzzy Duck. Now it's kind of like, yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. It might be a cool rocker, but it might not. I remember this as being a little bit more funky than you'd expect. But it's definitely a rock record, you know? Yeah, this issue is 1997. There wasn't a lot of vinyl getting pressed in 1997. Yeah, here are a couple more, man. Fucking Freedom's Children from South Africa. That is a great band. This record is really cool. Fucking galactic vibes. See its number there. It has kind of a weird half cover. This is like one of my favorite records ever, man. If you don't know Astra by Freedom's Children, you need to check this shit out. This isn't like an original South African one. It's probably a boot. But this record is great. Just like check that shit out. I'm like holding it, like look at it for a minute and like keep this in your brain because this is just so good. Yeah, this is on this weird like Breeder Backtrack label, which I think was like the Phoenix of its time. You know, by which I mean maybe not entirely on the up and up. Yeah, the Homecoming, man, it fucking still blows me away every time I hear it. But yeah, the shit on Breeder Backtrack tend to be really good. I don't have a whole lot, but I have this and the April Fool record, the Japanese band, and the Homer record, Grown in USA. I really like all three of those. So yeah, fucking Freedom's Children, man. It's a weird ass band. Like hearing them for the first time was like hearing Pink Floyd for the first time. Like they definitely have that kind of vibe, but I don't know, man. Not quite as. I mean, it's not really fair to say not quite as full of himself or pretentious as Roger Waters, because I mean, who is, right? But anyway, I love Freedom's Children. This is kind of a cool Spanish one that I don't remember anything about, but it's supposed to be like kind of jazzy and shit. Should probably play it. See, that's part of why I don't show these as much because I don't have much to say about them because I don't play them as much. So this is a really cool one though. Actually, this one you can find this one really cheap too. This is a the band is Friend Sound and the record is called Joyride. I thought it was Joyride as the band for like the first 10 years I had it. So I don't know. It's really cool. Like it's this is a musical free for all, and it's definitely set up like sort of a free for all, but it's actually a lot more rocking and a lot more sort of like engaging than you would expect. What's probably just an exploito record to sound like. So it's really kind of a gem. This record. There you go. Michigan Record Club's got my back on it. Good psych. A lot better than this band Freedom, I think. I mean, these guys aren't like bad, but I've heard them, especially Freedom at Last. That record sort of get thrown around as like this, hard rock, gem, and I don't hear it at all in that band. Same thing with this band, to tell you the truth. I think Free is kind of lame. I don't think they're bad. But yeah, I can't really say that I get very excited about it. I'm kind of in awe, in fact, of how like Zeke the Vinyl Geek, for instance, will still get like really enjoy like Free shit. Like he'll come around and talk about that band in particular from time to time, and I'm like, man, if that enjoyment is there to be had in that record, I really wish I could find it, you know. But it just kind of hasn't worked out that way. This one's really kind of overrated. Speaking of Fraction Moonblood, I mean it's cool because it has this weirdo like cover and shit with that die cut and like the weird red shit in there, right? But they kind of just sound like a Doors wannabe band. And I'm not exactly the biggest Doors fan, so looks really cool though. And this is not an original. It is a test pressing, actually, of the reissue that it is. But it's not a $2,000 original or whatever. This is the Food Brain record. Another Japanese one in case that isn't obvious. Of course you know it's Food Brain. It says it right there. Right? It's fucking looks really cool. This is a cool record. It's not really a tremendous record, but it's a lot better than Julian Cope says it is. Um, it's really just a jammy. I mean, this is kind of like a Japanese krautrock record, is what it is. Like krautrock by Julian Cope's definition, where you're just talking about that like specific, like the Berlin shit, you know. And it's really not exactly the same, but if you like consider Ashra Temple to be sort of like a quintessential band of that style, then you kind of got to put Food Brain in there too, because it's similar shit, you know. I like it better than a lot of Japanese things, but you know, it's not an all-time favorite. So it's ridiculous I even have this at all, but check it out. That cover's still in the shrink. Usually I take it off, but like time was, these things were fucking everywhere, right? With the die cut and shit. But like with time, a lot more of them have gotten torn up, which is funny because I wouldn't think like in the 90s that, you know, it would have been a great time for die cuts left over from the 70s compared with now. But it seems like time's been a little rough. Anyway, you know something? I really like Foghat. If you want to shit on Foghat, I can sit here and help you come up with reasons to shit on them. But these records are cheap. And like, I don't play them a lot, but when I do play them, I really enjoy them. And I'll tell you something, there's shit I'm letting go of isn't Foghat. The first one kind of sucks. This one was kind of lame. So yeah, there we go, man. Fucking Foghat. I wouldn't have so many fucking Foghat records, but they're so easy to find. It's so easy to be at the record store and just go, man, I really want to walk home with something. Oh well, here's another fucking Foghat record I don't have. But then it becomes unsatisfying, and I start to resent them. So like, I have to be careful with that shit too, you know. This was actually my first Flower Traveling Band record. It's this weird boot, which is just like a couple long jams, and I still don't completely get it. But like, I'd heard of the Flower Traveling Band. With that back. This is how we did inexpensive reissues back in the 90s. Yeah, but the one that really sort of cemented my love for that band was when I went and sought this one out. I got this on eBay. I think I paid like $60 for this. This is the only one that ever came out outside of Japan back in the day. This is a Canadian like comp. It's basically, I think it's all well, I was gonna say the first two, but the first one was that covers album. So it's all from Satori and Made in Japan, which are like the two like great records. Even though I like Makeup a lot too. But dude, this is just phenomenal. I mean, if you don't have the Flower Traveling Band in your life, man, I didn't know what to say. I actually found this in the half off bin and like got it as a backup because that's how much I love this record. I was so happy when I found this because originally it came in like this box, right? And so like they're really expensive and shit. There's another Phoenix one, but actually this is the predecessor. This is Radioactive, which kind of became Phoenix, I think. Anyway, Flower Traveling Band, absolute great record. There's a copy of Sussex by Ben Winden here, but that's another one that I came to when I got into the hippie shit, which is to say relatively recently. So that one is still kind of teaching me its joys, basically. You know, its pleasure is still sort of unfolding. Sussex by Ben Wind. It's a good record though. There's another one that's better than you think it's going to be. The Flow greatest hits, right? Of course, this is the only record. Isn't it the Shaddix one? Is like some weird like. Well, I mean, I really don't know anything about him. I kind of got it because of the label and because it seemed like a weird thing, and it's actually pretty good. It's better than a lot of stuff this label put out, to tell you the truth. So, and yes, you should pick up some Flower Traveling Band if you can find some. You know who had an easier time finding the Flower Traveling Band, which for some reason are always hard to find but worth the effort, was Flight Egg, or the Japanese band. And I love this record, Goodbye. I think they only made two records, Goodbye and this one, which is Dr. Siegel's Fried Egg Shooting Machine, which is funny because it's sort of like Japan going for the English thing, being called Fried Egg and doing that. And fucking Vertigo picked them up for it. So this is a Japanese reissue. It's a very good record. I like it a lot. It's definitely a little bit goofy, but it's rocking more than it's goofy. And this one's even heavier. This is partially live, actually. A big part of this one is a couple of the songs that are on here are on this in more rockin' versions. So, but yeah, Flight Egg is really good, man. Do I like Tiger B. Smith? Yes, I do like Tiger B. Smith. Not as much as Second Life, though. I love that Second Life record. Little Fleetwood Mac here. um, yeah, actually, if you're watching my channel for a while, you might remember when I went out and bought these because I kind of went on this big blues rock kick, and I want to hear this shit. I like Magical Power Mako too, Michael Valentini. Not like a huge fan though. Not like the Flower Traveling Band. Um, yeah, I play these records a lot. When I play one of these, I tend to play all three. This is my Fleetwood Mac collection. So yeah, good records, man. Didn't really get into them until I was in my 40s, but they were there for me when I was ready. Bryce Family Band, I love. Okay, so here's a Norwegian one that I've hyped. This is a great record. It's rocking. Like this is what you want, like one of your prog records to sound like when you want it to be sort of heavy and engaging and cool. I mean, this is just an awesome record, man. Flax. There were better covers in the '70s, but there weren't a lot of better records. And Norway had it going on, man. Fucking Norway was killing it. I actually talked about that last time I streamed. So here's another one that I liked when actually I got a Get Back reissue of this when they were putting out a bunch of shit back in the '90s before Karma really hit their stride, and they did this, and I got it and I liked it. And then it went in a big purge because I wasn't listening to like the hippie shit, so I got rid of it. And then I got into hippie shit again, like for real, because I had really been into hippie shit previously. And all this makes sense if you live inside my head. 5 Day Week Straw People. This is one of my favorite, like, kind of stupid hippie records. As records with that kind of sound, that kind of like happy kind of jokey thing goes, I love this one. This is really a favorite. So, yeah, this is a kind of a gem, I think. 5 Day Week Straw People. Like when I got this again, I remember thinking about it. Something, man. I bet I blew that one out of proportion in my head, and it wasn't as good as I remember it being. But dude, it was. It's a really good hard rocker, man. These guys are from Yugoslavia. This is fire. Could you understand me? And yeah, I was talking with this band with Mr. Bizarro recently. Actually, he was kind of chuckling some about the drummer, but this record fucking rocks, and it's 1973 from Yugoslavia. So, although the address, interestingly, is in Germany, and it looks like it was recorded in the Netherlands. So, yeah, Yugoslavia is maybe better than some places in the '70s, but wasn't great. I think everyone probably knows Finch. Everyone who gives a shit. It's pretty decent Dutch prog, really. I don't know why they, of all bands, would have gotten a release in the U.S. when so many other bands didn't, but they did. More power to them, I suppose. There's another kind of weird French one. That's cool if it feels a little forced to me. Maybe somebody will it'll click for me. These weird like nonsense French names kind of bug me a little bit too. I don't know, you know. My French isn't great, but like I can figure out just a little bit. So when they fuck with me by calling themselves something like Fille qui Mousse, which doesn't make sense, it makes me a little bit resentful. And I'm mostly kidding, but I do think names like that are stupid. I have Fever Tree, another hippie one that's pretty decent, but I don't know, man. Other people talk about the Fever Tree, I guess. You know, the Rockadelic one, like put together wrong, because there's another like insert that should be in front of the inner sleeve, but yeah, Sergeant Death by Fate has a reputation for being more sort of dirgy and dark than it really is. It's really more of a hippie record. Maybe if all you listen to are the Dead, this sounds dark, but I don't know, man. It's okay. All right, I got a few more here, like maybe another 30 or so, but then I'm probably gonna hang it up. This is the second box, and I'm gonna turn to a pumpkin. I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this. Hang on a second. If I mix this shit up, I'll never find it. And I literally just finished organizing this shit the other night, so I think it was last night, in fact. All right. Far East Family Band. Someone mentioned that shit. Yeah, I love the Far East Family Band. This one might be my favorite too, but it kind of comes and goes, man. Fucking this Parallel World, awesome record. This one just got a Western release, actually. In fact, this is a weird one, dude. This when I lived in LA, this one turned up kind of a lot. It's a Tenkujin, which is probably the most mellow of the ones that I have here. I didn't like it at first, but it really grew on me. It's sort of like Nipponjin only more. But yeah, okay, this isn't a blue vinyl one. Some of these came out in blue vinyl. And given how unusual that was in the 70s, I don't know what the hell happened to make that happen. But yeah, it's all ears records and a little bit of English sounding humor on here as they plug this kind of a Japanese Klaus Schulze record, really, this one. Maybe a little bit less ethereal and a little bit easier to listen to than Klaus Schulze, but I really like those Klaus Schulze records, so that isn't shit talk. So, yeah, this is the other one actually. This one, I don't know if this one got a U.S. release. It might have just been in Europe, but this is probably the one that turns up the most. So this is Nipponjin, which also says join our mental phase sound, and it's a German press because aus dem Hause Phonogram. See that shit? This record is awesome. Sorry, I'm scratching my nose, man. I don't know if Klaus Schulze was actually involved with them. Oh, you know something? Okay, so Michael Valentine asked about Klaus Schulze being involved. This is obviously this is a Far East Family Band record, but it says on the back here, all contact Klaus Schulze at an address. So there you go. I don't know if the Japanese version of this was very different, but really cool record. And this is a cool one too, man. Fucking The Cave Down to the Earth. Has that die cut, also very cool, man. That's probably the spaciest one, but I'm not really sure. Then this one's the jammiest one. This is just when they were called Far Out. And they still use that Nipponjin thing there. Yeah, it's a cool record. I probably like Parallel World and the other ones more than that one. There's another one that just sounded like hippie shit to me before I got back into the hippie shit. Now I love it. Like that could be my review for like a few of these. It probably has been. kind of feel like I'm wearing people out a little bit, so maybe we should call it good. I wanted to show those Japanese ones. Yeah, I just don't want to phone it in. That's all. I'm kind of running out of energy here. So, yeah. If you don't have this, this is a great old like hard rock gem. There's a new reissue of it, but I've been keeping an eye out for this to get reissued for, no exaggeration, 20, 25 years before it finally got done and saved me 300 bucks. So, all right, there we go. So that's it. Holy shit, Bobby Gas just joined and I'm hanging it up. Sorry, dude, I'm turning into a pumpkin, man. I'm not one of these fucking video game streamers who can go for like 8 hours and shit. But it's been what, about 2 hours, something like that? We looked at about 120 records, maybe. Taj Mahal Traveler, I got some of that here too. That's really good shit, man. I like that stuff. All right. Thanks for watching, one and all. We're gonna leave it there. Totally appreciate it. Oh, and if you're actually interested in such things, Beer and Jesus on Discogs. But whatever, if you're actually interested in any of this shit, just like hit me up. If it's something I love, I probably won't let it go. But you never know. And thanks for watching. Have a good night.